If he has to pass to win the game, they ain't winning the game, another defensive coordinator said. He's so unique as an athlete, and he's really a good football player. But I don't care if he wins the league MVP 12 times. I don't think he'll ever be a 1 as a quarterback. He'll be a 1 as a football player, but not as a quarterback. So many games come down to 2-minute, and that is why they have a hard time advancing even when they are good on defense. Playoffs are tight. You have to be able to throw the ball, and he is just so inconsistent throwing the ball. It is hit or miss. Well, let's read that quote. A couple of points in it. If he won the league MVP 12 times, you'd have to put him in tier 1. But this is hyperbole, right? Should we overreact to hyperbole? The guy's trying to make a point. It's that no matter how much of Lamar Jackson he thinks of him as a guy with the ball in his hands, he doesn't respect him as a passer. So he's saying it through hyperbole. Let's not act like defensive coordinators are eloquent poets. And look, Mike Sando's talking to a million different coaches and general managers and scouts and evaluators to put this quarterback tier list together. I think it's just hyperbole. A bit of an extreme statement, but sometimes you make extreme statements to lay out a point. And as this article continues, Sando outlined that the Ravens are 1-3 in the postseason with Jackson starting. He's averaged 6.6 yards per attempt with 4 total touchdowns, 7 turnovers in those games. During the same span, the players in Tier 1 this season are 24-12 while averaging 7.7 yards per attempt with 79 total touchdowns and 24 turnovers. Their combined playoff passer rating is 99.7 combined to 68.3 for Jackson. It is about what you do in the playoffs. I think a lot of people respect, including myself, what Lamar Jackson brings to the table as a player. But some people are a little defensive of him. We'll get to maybe why people are as defensive of Lamar Jackson as it seems they are in a moment. But there were a couple of clips from, your traditional speak for your pizza TV shows over the past 24 hours. Louis Riddick, he is an analyst for ESPN. Remember him? Monday Night Football. And here's what he had to say about Lamar Jackson on Get Up this morning.
Someone who has an axe to grind, who's someone who personally, again, feels as though no matter what Lamar does, he's just not going to change his opinion on him. And then you're trying to do it, as everyone on the panel has said, without ever being outed for it, meaning no one ever knows who it was who actually said it. And that is cowardly. That is, especially when you go this hard on someone and you say, I don't care what you do, you're never going to reach this certain level in my eyes. Look, I understand anonymity when it comes to reporting and sources and all that. And I've heard you guys all talk about that in the first hour. This seems over the top. No, it doesn't seem over the top. It is over the top. Well, this doesn't seem cowardly. It is cowardly. And this doesn't seem personal. It is personal. Yeah. There's no other way you can look at it.
I don't know. It is personal? I mean, maybe it is. Is it over the top? Yeah, it's hyperbole. I think we could have stopped right there. But we like to get mad about things these days. We'll get to Louis Riddick, back to him in just a moment.
I think that brings into focus again the need for him to go ahead and get the requisite training and see if he can do something that would help his accuracy improve. Because you're right, if he's going to have to rely on being the ad-lib quarterback, who's the one-read quarterback and then start running a lot of zone read, it's done. You're going to take some shots that you've never taken before. So I think he knows, look, if you can't throw the football from the pocket on third down or at least protect yourself enough, you're not going to last in the league. We got to find out if he can do that.
And here's another.
That last person talking there was Louis Riddick. And towards the end of Bill Polian's point about Lamar Jackson, some of which was fair going into the draft. To Jackson's credit, he has done an incredible job of protecting himself as a runner. But in that moment right there, I mean, Louis Riddick is saying that, yeah, this is stuff that he has to work on. The points that were laid out by that defensive coordinator were fair. They were hyperbole because of the 12-time MVP comments, but does that mean that the rest of the statement is just complete bullshit? Does that mean we should trash all of what that guy said? Look, I'm all for defending players that you like. If you like their skill set, you think they can improve. But the facts are, when it comes to Lamar Jackson and throwing the football, that it hasn't been enough to this point for the Ravens to get to a Super Bowl. Very, very thin margin for error when it comes to quarterbacks in these playoffs. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's a bad player. But I don't think we should be getting as pissed off about an anonymous defensive coordinator evaluating a player as honestly as he can. Yes, hyperbole was involved along the way. But when did hyperbole become just completely disallowed while making a point? We use hyperbole when talking amongst friends all the time. We can't make it while making a point on a TV program. We can't make it while making a point online. If we do, does that become disinformation, misinformation, or some bullshit like that? I felt the reaction to this one quote that's not that dissimilar than any other honest evaluation of Lamar Jackson and his throwing struggles. I felt like the reaction to it was extremely overblown.